a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown, Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Holy cow, what a game last night. Still riding the high of Oregon women's basketball's insane win over Illinois. Happy to have you along with us. I'm Chris Clayton here, Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're live in the Country Financial Studio on this Thursday afternoon. If you were there or if you watched or listened to the game, you know what I'm talking about. The adrenaline from that game, the emotional roller coaster that was that game was crazy. And we'll break it down and talk about it. And we'll hear from the post-game interview with press conference, I should say, with Ducks head coach Kelly Graves. We'll also hear from Ducks players, get their perspective on what it was like there on the court. And we'll also hear from Peyton Scott, assistant coach. She joined us on the post-game radio show as Oregon picked up a big win over Illinois. Also, softball starts tomorrow. How about that? We're getting into spring sports season. They start at 10 a.m. So later on in the program, Saul Galvan, he's the KWVA sports director, and KWVA is on the call this year for Oregon softball. He sat down with Joey and gave a season preview on what should be a fun year in Ducks softball. We'll also hear from Ellie Sokolsky later on in the program, give you a little primer for the schedule in Ducks athletics as well. But let's talk about the game last night. Oregon beats Illinois 76-73. Ho-hum, close game. Not really. So the situation was Oregon came out hot. Great start. Oregon led 45-24. Mind you, this is an Illinois team that had just beat Washington on the road earlier on in the road trip on Sunday. That's a ranked Washington team, and Illinois basically beat them wire to wire. It was 80-67. So that's an excellent Fighting Illini team that's going to be in the NCAA tournament and was jostling for position with Oregon in the Big Ten standings. One game separated these two teams heading into it, and Oregon came out so impressive with that huge start at 45-24. Talking to head coach Kelly Graves before the game, he said a couple of really important areas for the Ducks. They needed to take care of the ball, and they needed a defensive rebound. Man, they did that in the first half. 0 second chance points for Illinois in the first half, as the Illini had a 26-6 second chance point advantage against Washington on Sunday. That's how they beat the Huskies. And Oregon was keeping them off the glass, doing a fantastic job. You notice I'm focusing on the first half a lot. That's because the third quarter, not good. And you'll hear in the press conference from Kelly Graves, I think he said something to the effect of worst quarter ever. And I don't know if that's true, but it was not good. Illinois won it 27-6, and you blink your eye, and it's tied. And in that moment, you could really feel the angst in Matthew Knight Arena. You could feel the what in the world just happened. Just looking around like, is it really tied? I got multiple texts from people saying, wait, I turned it off. Or wait, I went to take a walk or take the trash out, and I came back and the game's tied. What happened? I don't know what happened, and I was watching it. And things just went south. Oregon, you'll hear, we asked, the players were asked about it. Assistant coach Peyton Scott was asked about it. Kelly Graves was asked about it. What happened? And they'll explain it. They felt like they got out of rhythm offensively. They didn't quite have the intensity they needed. It's human nature to let up a little bit when you're up 21 points at home. You're starting to have fun. It feels like a party environment. Everything's going great. In Illinois' locker room, it was anger. It was their head coach, Shauna Green, challenging the team, I'm sure. And also, Illinois was in foul trouble in the first half. So a couple factors there. They came out lethargic, and some of their stars, their leading scorers, were in foul trouble. should have known Illinois was going to at least make a comeback, but I don't think anybody expected what happened. So they stormed back and tied the game. You go into the fourth quarter, and Illinois just kept the momentum going. And it was 64-56 at that point, and things are just not feeling good. About 5 minutes to go, the Ducks are down 8, and this team, as they do, just responding in the crucial moments late. You think back to last Saturday, they're down 6 against Maryland going in the fourth quarter. They dominate the whole fourth and come up with a timely run to get the win. You think back to USC a month ago now, they're down big and storm back and score the last 14 points of the game to get the win. Have they lost some close games? Yes. But more often than not, they are making the plays in the big moments. Even Minnesota, the game they lost at home, they were down double digits. The final few minutes absolutely dominated and stormed back. They just ran out of time. So something about this team, they shine and they rise up to the big moments when it's really stressful. And it was pretty incredible down the stretch. You got a 4-point play from Sophia Bell. She didn't make the free throw, but an incredible shot. Go-ahead 3 from Mia Jacobs, and then Katie Fiso with the game-winning layup, a beautifully drawn-up play. Talking with Bev Smith on the broadcast, and there's 12 and a half seconds. Ducks have the ball down 1. It's about to be a baseline inbound, and sure enough, Bev knew exactly what they're going to do. I mean, it was nothing shocking. Obviously, it's have Fiso and Atute involved in the play, but we said, Jody Berry, she's really good at drawing up these baseline out-of-bounds plays. Sure enough, it worked beautifully in that tense of a moment to get a layup. It's a testament to these Ducks players and coaches, and Oregon got the go-ahead layup. Then they get the stop on a play with a little bit of contact. I think no foul. Absolutely no foul. I think if it happened to the Ducks, we'd be saying that was a blatant foul. But because it happened to Illinois, no foul there. But, I mean, that's basketball. It's a 50-50 play. It looked like the player maybe lost the ball and then there was contact. I don't know. But you understand why everybody was upset. An incredible basketball game and a celebration of college basketball and a celebration of National Girls and Women in Sports Day. What a showcase that was. And it was the Stomp Out Cancer game, the Pink Out. It was a really fun environment and an amazing game that I don't think anybody that watched the game is going to forget anytime soon. And after the game, Kelly Graves had the post-game press conference, and per usual, he had some things that bothered him about that third quarter, but mostly just happy Oregon came away with their 4th consecutive win.
How do you sum that up?
Cardiac kids strike again. I reminded them that several of our patrons are of the age where they can't handle that kind of excitement. Wow, where do you start? It's just a tale of two halves, certainly. Perhaps one of the worst third quarters maybe ever in terms of poise, defensive intensity, or lack thereof. We got in a little bit of foul trouble, and we didn't handle that well. And give Illinois credit. They're a really good basketball team. Shauna does an amazing job. They were obviously, didn't have a very good first half, but boy, that second half, they showed how good they can be. But in the end, we got the win, and that's what's most important. We showed some poise when we fell behind by 8. I know it wasn't looking good, but that's kind of when we start to make things happen. It was crazy, but ultimately it was our defense that down the stretch that made the stops, and that's what got us the victory. Obviously, some timely shots and offensively, but I thought it was the defense that won the game late.
Play at the end, go on Sophia's tape for Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
Yeah, I'll have to review that when it was all kind of a blur when it happened. We had some fouls to give there, and that was in our thought process. I'll just leave it at that. But it was a physical game all night, and they let that physicality go on that play. So, it's unfortunate for one team, but it helped us certainly.
Talked about that 8-point deficit. I believe you guys called the timeout and things turned around. What did you say to the team at that moment, and how did you see them, of course, respond as the way that we did?
Yeah, that we've been there before. We've been there, done that. There's no quit in them. Our big three, so to speak, had really good nights. We didn't get the support that we've, come to count on. And but those guys in the end made some big plays, especially that out of bounds. You leave it to your best couple of players, right? And Katie made just an amazing shot. So.
Does she have options there? What's the general idea for there?
Yeah, well, yeah. I also thought she had the dump off to Hees as well. That was one, and then we had the two shooters on the weak side, spaced out. Me at the high wing and a corner player. So we had the people in the right spots, but Katie had a great look, and that was a spectacular shot. Though it's funny, she wanted to miss. Told her to miss the second because they had no timeouts. 1.4, she makes it, but helps the percentage, but it also hurts the heart a little bit.
You mentioned no quit, but I imagine that third quarter kind of everybody's doing shout, but that you guys are probably pretty focused on walk us through kind of where everybody's at mentally at that point.
Well, I think we were, we had some emotional players on the side. I think that we just lost our poise. Now it also helped. It hurt us that that he's got in foul trouble and Katie as well. And yeah, we just kind of panicked a little bit, and that's we got to keep learning, keep getting better.
How do you go about managing when a He's kind of is in foul trouble throughout this game, and she's plus 24 today, obviously making an impact? I will bring that up to her. I bet I said I'm going to say easy 8 to 10 times. No basket is worth a fourth foul ever. And of course, when they drove and she just feels like she has to make that play, just give them the 2 points. It's never more important than a fourth foul. And I think she's realized that. And when we let her know that we were plus 24, you've got to stay on the court because she's, just so impactful. I guess just her being able to stay on the floor. I think you subbed her in with about 5 minutes to go, and she stayed on the floor throughout.
Exactly. So she's capable of doing it. But we had to. I think that was right when they had built that lead. I mean, at some point you just say, hey, we gotta go for it. And so, yeah, again, she's a young player, and, she's going to make those mistakes, but she also makes up for it more times than not. That was a really good win, you guys. That's a team we're fighting with right there in the middle, and we hope to be the upper middle of the conference. And
Michigan State, what kind of belief do you feel like you want your team to have based on the way chips are falling these last?
Well, we don't have any gimmies. We've got 3 left on the road, 3 left at home. All our home games are against teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament. At least one of the 3 on the road too. So we've still got a tough road ahead. We've got to continue to get better, but this was a big win tonight. Big win.
Future, you may use this game as a potential moment to remind your team or look back and film. If they need that sort of pick-me-up, do you feel like this could be a game where you could utilize that for them?
Yeah, we'll definitely watch film. It was that third quarter, you guys, that set the tone for the, obviously the fourth and the end of the game. But we've just kind of find a way to do better than that. We obviously showed our immaturity coming out with a big lead, and maybe we relaxed a little bit. I thought the shot selection at times was horrendous in that third quarter, and we've got to improve in those areas. We just do. We do.
Is what you want them to learn from this game? Is it more on the side of hey, this is what we don't want to do, or is it or do you go back to this game and say hey, look, we did play that fourth quarter, we did how do you balance those two sides?
Just like on all my multiple choice exams, I always take D, all of the above. So you got a shot. They're putting it in there because they want you to take it, right? We can learn from our mistakes we made, the lack of intensity, and I'm going to credit Illinois. They just, you could tell they came out, maybe they got their butts chewed at halftime. I don't know what the case is, but that's normally the quarter we really excel in, and they just came out. They were more physical. They wanted it more. They executed better. They and then we in the first half, we had 3 goals coming in, and one was limit transition points. That's how they won the other night at Washington. They had 0 transition points at half. The other was blocking out. No second, and they had 0 second chance points in the first half. So we had done what we wanted to do, and that's why we had the lead we did. And then we suddenly kind of forgot about that. And they were getting second shots, finishing them. And, we're just not the very big team. Ahis is 5'11", 6 foot, and she's going against a 6'7" kid. And you can complain to the referees that they're over the back. The honest truth is that they're not. She's just taller, and she's going up and over them. So, but in the end, you guys, we won the game. And ultimately, that's why you play it. Thanks, Herm Edwards.
The 4-game losing streak into a 4-game winning streak. How do you apply that progress to the rest of the season from here?
Got a top 10 team coming in on Sunday. So it just never ends. And I've got a great tweet for Sunday. You guys are going to like it. Might take a little bit of intellect, so that might exclude some of you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we hope to, if the crowd was great tonight, I hope they keep coming because we sure give them great games, exciting games.
That's Ducks head coach Kelly Graves after the win over Illinois. He's right. For better or worse, they're always close. That's what it feels like, at least. And they got number 9 Ohio State coming up on Sunday. Our breakdown of the Ducks' big win over Illinois last night. 4 wins in a row for the Ducks. It continues next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in
Duck Insider rolling on. We're talking Ducks women's basketball as they beat Illinois last night 76-73. Softball starts tomorrow. We'll talk about that later on here in the program. Give you a primer for a busy day in Oregon sports this weekend as well. For Oregon, some numbers from last night's win. Mia Jacobs led the way, 23 points and 9 boards. One of her best games in an Oregon uniform. Also 3 block shots, so very active defensively for the Ducks. How about Ahisa Tute, 20 points, 9 rebounds. Limited to 28 minutes because of foul trouble. But every time she was on the floor, you could just see a massive impact. A plus 24 plus minus. So we talk about all these details. Maybe it was basically as simple as when Atute was off the floor, Oregon struggled when she was on. They won by 24. And if she doesn't get in foul trouble, maybe Oregon wins by 20. Who knows? Just a great game for her, and her dominance lately continues. The Big Ten Player of the Week the first ever Duck to be named a Big Ten Player of the Week. Katie Fiso deserves credit, too. The game-winning layup at 16 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, only 2 turnovers against another rising star guard in the Big Ten. Illinois' Destiny Jackson's a terrific point guard. That was an awesome matchup, and I think when you look at the numbers and the plays late, Fiso maybe got the better of her, and just a great effort from the Ducks as a team as they get their 4th win in a row. Coming off a 4-game losing streak, had some heartbreakers. This time they're on the other side with 4 wins in a row, and you could really feel the emotions of this game right after it, the adrenaline of Oregon's win, as Ducks assistant coach Peyton Scott joined us just after the broadcast last night. Oh, my gosh.
Come on now, Chris.
Where do we start? You built a huge lead. You let it slip away, but what is it about this team? They just keep making enough plays in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, we were just, I think, did you name us the Cardiac Kids?
Cardiac Ducks, yeah.
Cardiac Ducks, let's go. We were just talking about that. We were like, I guess you guys just get bored when you go up by too much. You just need a thrill.
Yep.
But yeah, man, they're resilient. You know, we've had a lot of these games, and I think over time they've just learned. They've learned every time that, you know, it just takes something different, and just the value of one possession and executing down the stretch. And they were locked in. None of them lost sight of the goal. And what we wanted to do, even with that down 3rd quarter, they came back, they stayed in it, and I mean, man, wow.
What was the conversation like while Illinois was on that huge run? You could feel the anxiety here of kind of like, what is happening? What was the conversation like to just get everybody locked back in?
Yeah, I think we just tried to stay as intentional as possible. And so on the defensive end of the floor, we're like, where are they beating us at? They started getting on the boards. In the first half, we didn't give up any O boards, any second chance points, any fast break points. In that 3rd quarter, that's how they got back in the game. It was second chance points, it was fast break points. And so I think we just emphasized what we talked about at halftime of, you know, this is how they can get back in the game, and this is how they did it in the 3rd quarter. So just staying on that. And then on offense, just reiterating, right? We're best when we're at pace, when we're flowing, when people are touching the ball. I think we just took a lot of quick shots and didn't get enough touches. So just, you know, reiterating our game plan and being intentional with that.
Yeah, you know, the offense really struggled when Heath went out of the game, and we couldn't find any way to score. And I mentioned to Chris, I said, you know, right now we're too predictable in the offensive scheme. Someone's got to make a creative move, and you had Mia Jacobs make one, and then you had Katie Fiso make a couple. And they just attacked Illinois. Illinois was playing your scheme and beating you to the spots, and at that point, they can stop the plays or they can stop our players. And I think both Katie and Mia recognized that and made some really good plays that kept us close and allowed the Heath to get back in the game and then get back to doing what she did well tonight.
No, absolutely. And, you know, we got KG over here on the side just emphasizing, you know, in his own way, the importance of keeping those 2 players specifically on the floor and what foul trouble does to our team now when they're off the court. But I think you hit the nail on the head, and just the emphasis of, you know, staying on attack, right? Like, they were in foul trouble the whole game, and I think we came out kind of tentative and just a little casual, and they started getting it going, and then we got more tentative and, you know, a little indecisive. But when we just go and we're downhill and we're decisive, we're really hard to guard.
Take me through the baseline out-of-bounds play. You're down 12 and a half seconds. I mean, it looked like it played out exactly like it was drawn up.
Yeah, you know, shout out to Jody Berry, man. She's a wizard on the board, and it's one that, you know, it wasn't anything new, just something that we're comfortable with, something that we go to, a quick just head tap with Heath and Fiso playing, and, you know, they trailed her, so she had the rim, and if they didn't, she would have had the dump off. So I think they executed it perfectly. And yeah, made a great play with her left hand, which we're super proud of her for. Give her a lot of stuff for, so that's great. It's great to see.
Well, you work with Katie Fiso a lot. You were teammates with her last year. I see you guys work together a lot on and off the court. What kind of development have you seen from her the last few weeks?
Yeah, just incredible. I think we've talked a lot about details and reads with her a lot, patience, and understanding that you don't always have to make the pass on the first play. And just understanding like different defenses and breaking it down. I think she's just going to keep blossoming and growing, and tonight was just a benefit of that, and how she's just committed to the game and to game plans and been intentional and trusted her teammates, which I think has been a big thing for her.
Yeah, she had 16 points, 9 assists here. Well, now you Got a tough one Sunday against Ohio State. The Ohio native Peyton Scott against the Buckeyes here. They're 9th in the country. What do you think you guys can learn from this game to kind of utilize on that one?
Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to be a different ball game, just with how much they pressure and press. But I think it's just that under control, the patience, the controlling the rhythm of the game, and just, picking our matchups where we want, and just being solid overall, and just knowing, we're going to have to play 4 quarters against them. But, we have them at home. We have a great fan base and crowd. So we're excited to get back out there, but we're going to enjoy this one tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you so much. Peyton Scott feeling good as Oregon and the Cardiac Ducks take down Illinois 76-73. And she's from Ohio, so she's going to be locked in and helping the Ducks prepare for Ohio State on Sunday at noon. 9th in the country. They force a lot of turnovers. That's going to be a fun one, and the Ducks could use your support, as that would be their biggest win yet if they can pull off the upset over the 9th-ranked Buckeyes. Duck Insider continues next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
You say you never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I left my heart in Oregon. Oh, I left my heart in Oregon. Yeah, I left my heart in Oregon.
Back on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're live in the Country Financial Studio celebrating this Oregon 76-73 win over Illinois last night. The Ducks up to 18-7. They're 6-6 in Big Ten play. Some other metrics to think about that are important. 22 in the net rankings, so they actually didn't move with the win, but did what they're supposed to, got the job done. If you're a metric nerd like me, there's a new one this year called Scott Phillips just said, oh no. I'm sorry. We can't get enough numbers. It's called Wins Above Bubble. It measures basically what you do with your schedule compared to an average bubble team. They say the average bubble team is ranked 45th. They did extensive research on this, and your eyes might be glazing over, your ears might be blocked at this point. Maybe you don't care. It's just another metric to rate teams. Oregon's 30th. Okay, so that's really what I was getting at. 22 in the net, 30th in the WAB, W-A-B. So Oregon's in a great spot, and they've won 4 in a row, and it feels like they're only getting better game to game. And they were feeling good last night. You got to just sometimes take a step back and just enjoy the wins. The Ducks have had some heartbreak. It happens. This time they're on the other side, and the vibes were good, as you can imagine, in the post-game press conference. Ahisa Tuesday, Katie Fiso, Mia Jacobs, they combined for 59 of the Ducks' 76 points, and they were feeling good talking to the media.
Hey, you sound like you had options on the game winner. Just can you talk about kind of what you saw, how that developed, and why you thought taking it yourself was the best shot, and then how it felt to see it go in?
I kind of just, like, when I'm driving downhill, I see, like, a straight line, and if I see that straight line, then I'm committing and I'm going. But if I didn't see that, he was right there to get the cleanup. But I trusted my work. I put a lot of work in, and I ended up making the shot. So.
For all of you, what's the emotion right now after a game when you had that big lead, it goes away, and obviously you're really excited after?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good Feb win. It's gonna help us in the long run. So it's good to have that under our belt.
Yeah, it's good. You know, stacking up these wins. You know, close games in previous times we've fallen short. So I feel like we're growing. We're learning as a team. As Kelly said, we're getting a little bit more mature. But it feels pretty solid.
I was just happy we won. You know, it's like nice to go into an off day with a win. You know.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you expect Coach Graves to focus more on the way you guys rallied in the fourth, or the way you guys kind of faltered in there in the third? What will be his lesson?
Faltered in the third for sure. You know, definitely. You know, that was kind of outrageous. But I feel like, you know, like I said, learning and growing, figuring each other out. But coming into these halves, we got to come in with the mindset to kill until the last buzzer sounds. You know, if we want to be this great team, we got to stay consistent, stay disciplined in all quarters. So just working on those things, and yeah.
Yeah, Kate kind of talked about how you guys had to learn how to be mentally tough. It feels like you guys maybe discovered a little bit about that during that 4-game losing streak. How do you feel like you guys have grown where now in a moment like this, you're able to pull off a win instead of coming to this room after a loss?
Yeah, I think just not holding our heads on like maybe a turnover or something that might have gone the wrong way or a missed shot, making sure that on the defensive end we get a stop, and that's where our offense comes from, and to making sure that on defense we're really locked in and one as a team.
You know, what were those huddles like heading into the fourth quarter when it's a tie game, you blow the 21-point lead, and then I think you were down 8 and there was another timeout. You guys were able to rally, but what were those huddles like? KG said they were pretty intense.
They were, but just making sure like once we leave that huddle, we huddle again and make sure we're all on the same page, just offense, defense, and then what we're immediately running or immediate defenses after that. So as a team, I think we try and kind of focus it in after like an intense huddle like how they were.
And Easton, Katie, you saw some pretty big threes down the stretch. One by me, obviously, that was big to get you guys in, but another one by Sophia as well that really felt like fueled everything. Can you just talk about how big those moments were to see your teammates step up, and what sort of impact did they have on you on that stretch when you guys were able to come back?
Really. Well, when Sophia made her shots, I was just so happy because, you know, it was just so nice to get back into the game.
Yeah. You know, seeing them make those shots, I see them put the work in, the overtime in. You know, they're coming in early at practice, coming in early on the off days. So it was only a matter of time, you know, like for them to start showing that they can hoop too, man. We got some silent hitters on the team, so team just got us all.
Whether it was at Sophia's end one or not, like, was there one of those plays where you felt like everybody was like felt stabilized, where you felt like, oh, okay, we got things going back the right direction?
The three with the foul, the 4-point play.
Yeah,
that was definitely
like
a
we were back in the game at that point.
Yeah,
it was all game.
It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can I ask, I'm writing something on Sophia. Can I ask you, Teresa, what she brings to this team both on the court and off?
I think on the court defensively, like she had two really big stops in that last couple seconds of the game, and then off the court she brings such knowledge and smarts, and then she's also such a life and joyful person to be around too.
I'm saying she's like that person that doesn't get on like a lot of stuff on the stat sheet, but she does a lot of the little things that nobody talks about. You know, she's guarding the best defender every game, and that takes a lot. You know. She's kind of like Steve Kerr on like the Bulls team, you know. When she need to make the shot, she gonna make the shot. She gonna make the right plays, and I'm happy she's on my team. That's all I gotta say. I wouldn't want her to guard me, so. Nope. Actually, yeah, I do. Yeah, dude. What you talking about, bro?
I'm a Bulls fan. I know for a fact you were not alive when Kurt was on the Bulls, but I appreciate that.
Oh. Man, watch out.
How dare you?
Call you out like
I
that.
appreciate your history. Though. That's great.
It's good. Ball player, man. Michael Jordan's the GOAT, though, by the way. So just wanted to say that.
For each of you, obviously today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. I'm just wondering, what does this day mean for each of you individually, and also, of course, to get a win on this day as well?
You got it. Go
Who
ahead.
wants to go first?
I'll go first. It's cool. It's obviously there's an evolution of women and being able to play the sport, and we've been able to expand in the WNBA and in college basketball with the NIL and stuff like that as well. But just being able to play, and it's a privilege to be able to be here and be at one of the top leagues in the country in things like that. So being able to do that is something special. Obviously, I'm not from here. Ahis isn't from here, so kind of being away from home, being with other people is really cool, and it's nice to have other women and people around us too.
Yeah, it feels great. Watching the evolution of women's basketball get the exposure it needs, and the exposure that, for so long we've, what am I trying to say? Shoot. That we've ever, what? That we haven't had and that we deserve, So it's great to see a lot of more attention. And as this game continues to grow, the exposure will continue to grow. So riding that wave.
Yeah, what a way to celebrate National Girls and Women in Sports Day last night with the win, whether it's the athletes, the coaches, the color commentator, Bev Smith, or the fans, the cheerleaders, everybody. Great way to celebrate National Girls and Women in Sports Day with a Ducks win, 76-73 over Illinois. That was Hisa Tute, Katie Fiso, and Mia Jacobs talking about the victory over the Fighting Illini. When we come back, we're talking Oregon softball. They have first pitch of the season tomorrow. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial #law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ed Council.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Go. The weather's been a little nicer lately. We're heading into spring. That means softball season is here. It's exciting. And it's not just here. I mean, it's right here. It's tomorrow. The Ducks have a couple big games. They're taking on Missouri and Clemson, just diving right into it with a couple power conference opponents. Saul Galvan, he's one of the voices of Oregon softball, the sports director of the student radio station at Oregon, KWVA. He sat down with Joey Mack on Tuesday to give us a full rundown on what to expect this year with Oregon softball.
Time to talk a little bit of softball. Back for another year as the voice of the softball team. Welcome Saul Galvan to the Country Financial Studio. Many times you've heard him from afar. He's been deciding what camera you see when you watch Duck Insider. Now we had to move him into the guest seat because he's getting ready for another year of Oregon softball. You excited?
I'm excited. It's go time right now. Opening day, two best words that I love to hear in the month of February.
That is your favorite
Unless
phrase.
it's Super Bowl that involves the Chicago Bears, which unfortunately this year it did not. Opening day is number 2 right there.
Opening day. So, back for another year as the voice of the softball team. You'll have all the calls on KWVA. Tell fans first the plan for travel, huh?
Yeah.
Where are we going this year?
We're going to a lot of different places. So, KWVA will be at every single Oregon softball game this year.
Go.
Every single. We are super grateful to have that opportunity to be at every single Oregon softball game. We know that sometimes it's difficult to maybe watch the games on streams and different platforms, but fortunately for KWVA, it's free.
That's right.
It's free, so you can go listen to us on KWVA and KOCR. We also have a website as well, kwva.uoregon.edu. You can go on there if you don't have a radio app, if you're not in your car in the Eugene area. So, whether you're in Eugene or whether you're not, if you're a parent watching from a different state, you can go into our website, listen to it as well. We'll have a pregame show a half hour before every single first pitch. Half hour before every single first pitch.
Wow.
Friday before the series, we're talking with Coach Lombardi. Saturday, we'll do a player highlight from the previous series. And then Sunday with the assistant coaches, Coach Martyr, Coach Romero, and Coach Cardona. It's going to be really, really fun. I'm super excited for this season.
Awesome. Adding the pregame show, I'll tell you, as somebody who now has done an awful lot of pregame shows in his career, they're fun. It's nice to be able to do some interviews, right? Because you're used to doing play-by-play, but it's good to do the interviews too.
Well, what I loved about last year too is that, it gave me a chance to really know more about the team, right? Because I think that you can read the notes, you can read the recaps and everything, and that gives you a good sense. But what really separates, a play-by-play person from, just a regular old someone who comes in and calls the team to somebody who can really tell the story of the team in general and who you're seeing on the field. And I think that was a really fun thing last year was to get to highlight everybody throughout the season. I got to interview basically the whole team and kind of find the stories about, little tidbits that I could throw in the broadcast. And I think it's really cool to just learn about their softball journeys and how they got to being an Oregon Duck.
Oh, well said. Good work. So Galvan, he'll have the call all weekend long. The opening weekend, Ducks scheduled up this year, didn't they?
They really did.
He didn't shy away.
I tell you what, this is going to be a tough start to the season. I think that last year the Ducks kind of went on the bit of a roller coaster, right? I mean, before it was, going up a little bit. At least this year it's definitely going up towards the start. Last year was kind of a build up to, that middle part of the season with conference play. This year they're just right off the bat just going on this uphill, but I think there's a lot of benefits to it, right? You can get those challenges out of the way. You can play those ranked teams and kind of find out what your skills are, what you're doing good at, and then also what you need to work on, which a lot of teams don't get that opportunity in these non-conference tournaments, right? Again, 5 weeks to kind of prove yourself, see what you need to get ready for a conference tournament. And, I mean, this opening weekend's a good starter. 4 of the 5 teams that Oregon's playing this week were in the NCAA tournament field. That's challenging.
Has a postseason feel to it. It sure does. Talking with Coach Lombardi too, she knew that the Ducks would have some firepower returning, and certainly they do at a lot of different positions. Talk about the great sophomore class, the returning in the circle. It makes sense to schedule up when you got all this back.
Yeah,
right?
It absolutely does. And again, it just this team is going to be ready for it, right? They talked about it at Media Day last week that they're tired of playing each other, and the best competition that they're going to play is themselves. So now they want to go out and prove that they can beat somebody else. And I just think that this team is so much firepower, like you mentioned, the power, the pitching. Really, I think that last year they lost a good amount of players, right, the senior leadership, but they were able to replace them with some really impactful players. And, again, I think the fans should be really excited this year to watch this team play.
You said Media Day. You were there talking with everybody. What were your takeaways from Media Day? What were the headlines?
I think just the connectivity, right, between this team. Coach said it right off the bat, saying that what she's excited about this team is how connected they are. And I think you saw that this year. But after what happened last year, right, making it all the way to the World Series and getting most of the roster back, getting all the coaches back as well,
right?
It feels like this is like a second part to what happened last year. And, even the players that came in, they knew what the goal was right away. That's why they came to Oregon, because they wanted to be part of that, second push to get back to the World Series and maybe even this time come away with a victory. So I think that's why there's a lot more anticipation heading into this year, is because of where they did last year, but also, too, because they want to start a new journey, right? Coach Lombardi said it. This year it's version 8, but it's also version 50 because they don't have a finish line.
Right.
Even though that finish line is hopefully going to be a World Series, there's no limits to this team because they don't want to set limits like they did last year as far as stolen bases, home runs. They don't want to have those numbers. They just want to go out there and win ball games.
So Galvan back calling Oregon softball again on KWVA this year. We'll have him all year long here in the Country Financial Studio. I'm also going to ask you about attending the Diamond Dinner. How was that? Getting a chance to get to know the team. You talk about that. What were the headlines?
So much fun. I'll tell you what, this team, that was the other thing, too. This team loves to have fun. I love it when Maddie Milhorn went up and said that she wanted to be a TikTok influencer and did a TikTok in front of a crowd of 200 people. I would not be able to do that. I give her total props for that. As a freshman, to go up there and say, hey, I'm Maddie Milhorn, and I'm going to probably embarrass myself in the next 10 to 15 seconds. But I'll tell you what, that was super fun. Everybody went up and kind of introduced themselves. Tons of support from the fans. A lot of really great fans that listen to us as well on KWVA and watch the team, really avid supporters. So I think it was a great night of celebration. And they kind of reflected on that version 7, that made it to the World Series. And that was kind of like one of the last times where they'll say, all right, we're going to celebrate what we did last year, and now we're going to move on to this year and, try to lock in.
Well, and it makes sense to give a little credit, right? You think about the building blocks now heading into this season. Last year's a big part of that, right? Yeah. There's some motivation now because once you taste the World Series, I just want to get back and keep going to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, no, I think that the taste was right there. And Elise Sokolsky and Lindsey Grimes said it after last year that, they looked at right there in Oklahoma, they were sitting in the the bench right after they lost that last game and said, look, we're going to get back here. We want to get back here. That's the goal this year. And those two especially I think are going to be really impactful this year because, the veteran leadership, they both have a couple years under their belts now with Oregon, and they're going to be some elite pitchers for this group as well. But just having that mindset of saying, hey, we want to get back there. We want to taste that again, and we want to, go farther than we did last year.
So, Galvan, our guest, talking Oregon softball, you mentioned the pitching. It's nice to have what the Ducks have coming back in the circle.
Man, it's so much fun. I'm really excited to see what they can do after last year. Lindsay was Lindsay all year long, right? Every time she went out there in the circle, she was dominant. She looked like a top-ranked pitcher. And then Elise, really the second half of the season kind of picked things up, which, first half, obviously, Lindsay was in the spotlight, but then Elise came in, and it was really that 1-2 punch. And then talk about last year, too. You have Stacey Chambers, one of the only lefty pitchers in there. They don't get her back this year, but they get a pretty good. They get a pretty good pitcher though in replacement, and Maddie Milhorn, who I heard is throwing 70 miles an hour as a freshman. To put that in perspective for fans out there, the average college softball pitch is around 63 to 66 miles an hour. Obviously, we know about Carlin Pickens over at Tennessee. She threw the fastest pitch about 76 miles an hour, but Maddie's a freshman throwing 70 miles an hour. That is unbelievable to know that she's throwing that fast at a freshman level. And then obviously Rowan Thompson, Taylor Spencer as well. So this is going to be a stacked pitching group, no doubt about it.
Deeper.
Really deeper as well. And I think that's going to be beneficial, especially in this early part of the season where they're going against so many really good teams, to just have that depth so that way they don't have to use, their star pitchers in every single game.
Break down the offense for fans now, too. We mentioned a lot coming back, and the Ducks hitting the transfer portal with some key additions.
They really did. And I'm excited for this addition. Like I said before, I think that everybody that they lost last year, right? You lose one of your star outfielders. You lose your leadoff hitter, your center fielder, your All-American center fielder, I should say that, and your shortstop. But they go out there and they fill those pieces. You get Addie Amaral from Notre Dame. You get Amari Harper as well, and Elon Butler, who's going to be a great speed, probably one of the best hitters at the top of the order. So I think that it's going to be, a team kind of like last year, but also what Coach Lombardi said on Media Day as well, that the stolen bases might not be there. It's hard to replace Kai Lushar and her record-breaking stolen base record last year. But, they're still gonna run hard, right? They were training so hard in the offseason with their strength and conditioning coach, Kaylin Jackson. And the power is going to be there. Even though they lost a good amount of power from last year in Desiana Patman and Kedri Lushar, they still have 60 home runs from last year of their 80 that they're returning this year. So the power is definitely going to be a big factor for this year. And I think the speed also as well. Now that they know what they can do on the base path, I think that was a big factor last year. The reason that they got so far was because how aggressive they were on the base path. So that's also going to be something to look out for this year.
So Galvan getting ready for Oregon softball season. KWVA.uoregon.edu, 88.1 FM. If you're in the Eugene area, you can tune in for free.
For free. There you go.
For free to hear the hometown call. on KWVA. Saul and his staff at KWVA on the call for so many different Oregon sports. Really an extension of Oregon Sports Network at this point. Bravo, sir. Well done. Now, the most important question, though, you're still a student, right? You're a student broadcaster, much like we say student athlete, student broadcaster, okay? Now, you're not going to miss a lot of class, but I have to ask, in your senior year here, how's the golf class going?
Oh, I knew this question was going to come up. It is
He's
great.
in a golf class,
Golf class, which is crazy because it's only 6 weeks of the term. So we're done in 2 weeks, and I'm going to miss the last class most likely because of softball. But I tell you what, my short game's getting better, which is nice. It's a good time. The winter is a good time to work on your short game, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to hit all their clubs. You're not going to hit the club very far because of how cold it is. So you might as well just sit by the lodge, where it's a little bit more heated, and just putt for 2-3 hours, which a lot of people don't, obviously. But, it's nice to know that I can push myself to do that now.
So you're going to Clearwater with Oregon softball. Have you looked up what country clubs are around you?
And, I was thinking about it. We get there Thursday. At least I get there Thursday, and we leave Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get around it. But I might sneak out, scout a couple courses for post-grad.
Look, I'm just telling you, Thursday afternoon's wide open for
It is, yeah. So we'll have to see. I do want to get out there. Florida is one of the states. So, I've traveled a lot. Obviously with softball, and then obviously student radio station with football and everything. I don't know what my exact number is, but I think I'm at 41 or 42 states right now.
No kidding.
Florida's going to get crossed off, so 43 most likely. Obviously, I'm missing some of the bigger ones like Hawaii and Alaska.
I think you've done more states than me.
Really?
Yeah. 100%,
No, it's crazy. I did a lot of traveling when I was younger, and then obviously coming out to the West Coast, I get to see all these states on the West as well. So I'm getting closer. Hoping to cross that off maybe by 25. Do some post grad trips and maybe try to get to all 50 by then.
How about that? So Galvan, he's going to be on the road with Oregon softball. Ducks open things up in Florida this weekend. Pre-game show half an hour before every game. How about that? So Galvan, travel safe, buddy.
Appreciate it.
That's a fantastic preview of Oregon softball that starts tomorrow with Missouri and Clemson. One final break. When we come back, we'll wrap up Duck Insider, give you the primer for big day ahead tomorrow from the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in
Duck Insider continues. We are happy about Oregon women's basketball, their victory last night over Illinois 76-73, but we're also excited because it's softball season. We're continuing the primer to get you ready for the Ducks season starting up as they'll be playing at 10 a.m. tomorrow in Clearwater, Florida against Missouri and Clemson. Elise Sokolski going to be a huge factor on this Ducks softball team this year, and it's great to hear from her on her expectations for this season.
What are you most excited about coming into the season for the team to show and for fans to experience?
Yeah, I think they're going to feel a bit of a different vibe with version 8 than they did version 7. We are just very kind of like heads down. We're going to get to work. And I'm excited to see our fans like really take in version 8 as a whole in that aspect. So that's what I'm excited for. Obviously, I know I'm one of the people I'll get very energetic, very excited. So to keep that up. But just to like experience like all of our new faces, all of like just version 8, I guess. It's exciting.
How would you define this team in a couple of words? Like what last year was speed, you know, they had some sneaky power, you know, great defense. What do you think attributes this team would be described with?
I think I would say power for sure. We got a very strong offense, very strong defense, just firing on all cylinders, right? And then I would just say probably connection. I think especially in the past couple of weeks, we've really tried to focus on like how are we with each other on and off the field. So I hope that connection is really being able to like be seen by our fans in the crowd, and that they can connect with it too.
Last year, the team, I mean, it's a factor that all teams experience, but the injury bug, you know, hits, and, you know, it's a long season. Everyone kind of has their aches and pains. How would you say experiencing that last year will help this year's team, you know, deal with the potential of, you know, the unexpected injury or, you know, planning for the unexpected kind of thing?
For sure. I know we like to talk, we're not like a one-dimensional team. You're not going to have like one player that starts every game. Like we are deep on our positions in our field. So I think really just focusing on that, but also know that like whenever you are out, I know Emma was talking about it a little bit earlier, just about we are more than just like what is going on in the sport. Like even if we can't play, we're still connected with each other regardless.
Yeah, it's going to be a great year for Oregon softball. You can feel the excitement. You can listen on KWVA. Their season starts tomorrow, 10 a.m. with Missouri and then Clemson in Clearwater, Florida. We'll talk about that. We'll kind of recap that game and more tomorrow. Duck Insider, have a good Thursday. Talk to you tomorrow.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.